Peace. Hope everybody's having a wonderful, amazing day. I am Akram Quadeem, and this is another episode of Single Fathers Network. I'm talking to Quadeem today, who has recently become a single father, and we are going to dive into his story a little bit. So if you could start off by telling me, introducing yourself, what type of work you do, your age, how many children you have, what is the status of your relationship?
All right. Well, first off, my name is Quadeem. Everybody just call me Q for short. That personally knows me. Right now, my situation. Well, before I even get down to that point, I'm 28. I'm about to be 28 in a couple of weeks, but I'm manifesting it now because at that point, I'm just want to embracing the life that God gave me. I have 2 kids, and the situation I'm going through currently is literally just a little bit of a separation, but don't even know if we're doing a separation, if that makes sense. And
living together?
Yeah. So we basically live under the same roof. And I've came to terms with if I have to move, especially for the peace of the family and the kids' health, especially mentally. That the fact that I have 2 little boys, like that's what really where it boils down to for me at the end of the day. I'm a security officer. I work 3 different security companies. And on top of that, I'm trying to do entrepreneurship, which is something that's like way out of my like comfort zone when it comes to business or learning about business, because school never taught us this thing. So that's one process in itself. But so far, working it's been challenging. I've been exposed to new environments, new contracts, and different people on the way. And don't get me wrong, some of them are good, some of them are bad, but that's to be expected when you're going into different atmospheres, especially when it comes to jobs.
So with the employment, is that a continuous issue that you're running into? Like, you have assistance with daycare and things of that nature? Like, how does that balance out with her working and you being separated? Because in a functioning household, you could just work opposite schedules or something of that nature. But if you're planning to move out, that might
that's why I thought about it myself too. Like, so right now the dynamic that we have, it has some order to the chaos, but at the end of the day, like, I'm a 9-to-5 dad, 9-to-5 worker, and then still trying to figure out what else I got going on for myself, which is very little to everything.
Have you all had a conversation about what that would look like if you separated, what the time split would be, or what hours you'd be available to work? Or
to be honest with you, we haven't even dived into that topic yet, which is a concern for me, because it's like, at the end of the day, despite being together for 4 years and like having all of the the trials and tribulations that we've been through, especially whether it considered to being like infidelity, cheating, misusing of each other, whatever the case may be, it's just time sensitive. And even though I feel like I'm comfortable with speaking on the topics that we need to talk about, I can't expect her to feel the same.
Has she sought counseling also?
So for her, she's been in therapy for a good couple of years, but since she's been working nonstop and dealing with the pregnancy, she really hasn't had the momentum or the energy or the motivation to even really seek help again.
You mentioned pregnancy. So is that...
That's the new, this is baby number 2.
Third? Okay.
Nah, this is baby number 2. I ain't...
Okay. Well, you said you had 2.
Nah.
So I didn't know if...
I got my first. He just recently turned 2 in July. And then number 2, that little boy is about to be born either in December or in January, but is looking in January for the 11th.
Capricorn?
His mom was a Capricorn too, and then my oldest is a Cancer. So yeah, trust me. Crazy thing is, my dad's a Capricorn, so I got too many Capricorns in my life, especially my little brother. His is the 13th
of January.
And then my brother is either the 16th or 17th. I think it's the 17th of January.
I got a younger brother who's the 11th, and mine is January, and mine is December 31st.
Dang. Jeez, man. See, I be putting Capricorns in my life. I'm trying to figure that out because I don't know. Apparently, even though I'm a Libra and I can balance out all the scales and kind of ride with the vibes and the energy, like, I love y'all, but I hate y'all at the same time. But hey, it is what it is. You feel me?
Yeah. And you said this has been a 4-year process with you and her?
Yeah, it's been a 4-year process, like, because I recently moved out here.
Is that including whatever happened in the relationship? So it's been like a good year and then multiple years of nonsense?
It's just from the time I moved out here, or not even before I moved out here, because we met in grade school, believe it or not. But we didn't met back up until back in 2017, 2018, that era, that space time. And it was just weird and random and just like, you felt like it's God that kind of put that together in a sense, you feel me? Because before her, I was going through a whole lot of just not knowing who I was, not caring about what I did or how I handled certain situations. And I ended up putting myself in a dark place. And I guess like after my last relationship where I found out my ex cheated on me with multiple people, that messed me up because that was the first person I've ever tried to be loyal to.
That was prior to your son's mother?
Yeah. And
do you think maybe you took some of the hurt from that situation?
I feel like I did. I am not even gonna lie to you. Yeah. And not even just from that, like before that,
past period,
from you, to be honest with you, because at the end of the day, I had trust issues. I have trust issues. I got commitment issues. I got like abandonment issues. I got anger issues. I am like, it's so much, dog.
Yeah.
And it's like I never had an outlet to really channel all of that energy. And when I did, that I don't know, like when I did have that outlet, it died after my grandfather died. I'm gonna be honest.
What was the outlet?
It was literally getting into music for real. Like it was just me playing instruments, and the fact that, like I told you before, my family on my dad's side is all musicians.
Yeah.
And once he passed away, and I started seeing how the family started moving, it's like I lost all motivation to really tap into it again. Yeah. I felt like it became toxic.
Yeah.
But after that part, and then getting into so much trouble after 5 years, I felt like the places I've been, because of the stuff that I did to myself, happened for a reason. But at the time, and then like at that moment, I didn't understand what was going on. I was just angry all the time. But as I am now, looking back, it's like I appreciate that journey, because even though it was tough, it was challenging, it was hurtful, and whatever pride or whatever mindset I had at the time, is like I learned something from it. Mm-hmm. And I finally accepted that me, even though my parents weren't there the way I wanted them to be, I had to learn everything the hard way. And I feel like that's kind of like one of the best lessons to learn anything is when you're in the hardest situations, or you at your lowest.
What type of relationship did you have with your own father?
Oh man, I never even really talked about that one with anybody for real. But
let's go.
Where do I start? So my dad was just like any other dad, that in the beginning they're doing their part and they trying to keep a happy family going. Mm-hmm. But my dad's a musician. He was a musician before I even found out my grandfather was a musician. And my dad was pretty much famous for a while until he fell off, or his band broke up, or whatever the case may be. And I guess he spiraled into a whole lot of different things because I felt because I was born, I kind of disrupted his flow. And even though he was there, he was not there at the same time.
Was that ever said to you?
Nah, like it was just the feeling, if that makes sense, because I was never in his presence on a day-to-day like a day-to-day going, like how I am now with my own kid.
Yeah.
And same goes for my mom. But I'm grateful for the grandparents that I had, because in that dark time as a baby, because it started at 2, that they stepped up and took me in when they didn't want to take care of no more kids at that point.
Yeah, parents.
Yeah, you feel me?
Yeah.
And the relationship, when I did get the time to actually live with my father, which was like roughly 3 years, I didn't learn nothing positive out of it besides, well, no, I'll take that back. I'm not going to lie on his name like that. I learned a lot of good things from my father, but I feel like the stuff that I was literally seeing on a regular, and I was like observing as a youth, because we observe way more stuff when we smaller and we want to be just like our fathers at that point. It was a lot more toxic and a lot more negative than I wanted to be positive. And I adapted a lot of it. So I started smoking weed at a very young age. I started reading like pornography and all this other crazy wild things that kids at 8 years old shouldn't even be entertaining right now. But I couldn't blame him after a while because it's like, you know what, he did his best, and I gotta give him that. But at the end of the day, as me, at the age when I got older to really understand things and really make a decision for myself, I kind of allowed myself to separate when my mom decided to send me and my brother them to America in 2010. Because before I even came to America, I literally was on my last strike from getting in trouble with the law. And my last strike was literally me having to get into a stealing situation with my pops, which I ended up taking the fall for. But due to the fact that I wasn't, I guess, you know, when you that street mentality or whatever, I guess it's like when you weigh the option of, are you gonna tell the truth or you gonna hide the truth at the same time? And I struggle with that because my grandparents was trying to get me into church on a regular, and my dad was literally teaching me the opposite of church for whenever he felt it was convenient. And because I cared about him, I just took the fall for everything. And my mom and him got into a whole this dispute about it. I felt like my family at the time was literally like, well, there goes that kid again. And the time that I was sitting down behind the bars while the cops was just pretty much interrogating me and trying to figure out what was wrong with me at that point. And what you see on TV for interrogation, like sitting down behind a desk and they're just questioning you. Now I got it a little more in a physical sense where they made me do physical things to literally break me. And that's just where I'm from, because we don't follow America's rules to some extent. We like more of a third world country. So they take their job a little more seriously than most. And it's like, in a way, I felt like I was getting abused all in one, just because I'm a kid. And I'm like, dang.
Yeah.
But my dad started doing a lot of things I didn't want to be around no more after I got older.
You have a relationship with him
currently? Yeah, he's still around. Last year, before my son turned a year, I went back home for 2 weeks with the family on vacation. And as I got there, I didn't even know if I wanted to see him or if I didn't want to see him. But I know it was literally bugging me in the back of my head for like the past 3 days that I was there. And when I finally did see him, when I wasn't even looking for him because I was driving around, just enjoying my time with the family.
Yeah.
And I just saw him on the strip. And I'm like, why are you on the strip? And he in a dress suit, sweatpants, or just dress clothes all together. I'm thinking he going to an interview or he just coming from church. But come to find out, the man was damn near by a crack house. I'm like, what did he ask this, man? It's like, and I'm sitting in the car while she watching me, and I'm like, how do I even explain what's going on right now?
You don't.
But she was exposed to it, you feel me? So she saw what was going on. She was cringing about it, and I'm like, dang, I need to get y'all out of here as soon as I possibly can. Yeah. But due to the fact that my dad was just excited to see me after 10, 11 years, like, he just wanted to be in my presence, and I'm like, you know what? Let him enjoy his moment, you feel me?
So where did you parent from? And I mean,
from myself?
Yeah, because you didn't have the example, but I met you and your son is one of the most respectful individuals. I've never seen a child that young walk up and introduce himself to every grown man in the room. How did you see?
Yeah, he's 2 years old now, man.
He got introduced when he walked in. Hear me out. He got introduced when he walked in. But after Dad said, say hello to everybody, and they went and sat down, little man got up on his own accord. Eye contact, like me looking at you. I'm walking over to you. I'm shaking your hand. I'm nodding and I'm walking away. I'm looking at the next person. I'm walking over. Like he did that to every single person in the row,
5 of us in the room?
through the whole room. It was so impressive.
Look, as surprised and amazed as you are, I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
Because like every day I go with this journey with raising him, and I'm happy as hell when I do it, because I never felt so much joy and peace within that space with me and him. Yeah. And because of the experience I had with my dad, my uncles, or whoever, I've always said, you know what? I've seen all the negatives. I've seen all the chaos. I've seen all of the whatever it is that I didn't like, especially as a kid. Because kids, when you were a kid, we know when stuff is not right. It's
Yeah,
not supposed to move this certain
can't
way.
always articulate it, but we know.
Exactly. So I was going off of that for parenting, if that makes sense. Like I never wanted to repeat anything that I learned to him.
It does make perfect sense that you bring that up, because we actually have a shirt in print that says, "Be the father they need, not the father you didn't have."
That part.
And that's very relevant to me, because most people's aim at parenting, me and Brian talk about this all the time. Most people's aim at parenting is like, I want to be different than what my dad is, which is almost defining an impossible mission, because you don't have a roadmap.
You really don't. And that's really the scary
It's like
part.
setting a goal without intention and steps to achieve it. It just doesn't happen.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that's the scary, and like I said, that's the scary part for, like, as me personally, just even though I'm 2 years in and about to be having another one, it's like nobody really talks about how hard it is for a father to be a father when you they have these stepping stones to literally go from. And I pray, like, I have no hate towards the ones that do. I'm grateful that they had their fathers, you feel me? Because at the end of the day, if I did have my dad to that extent, and I did learn what I needed to learn, I would have been far by now. You feel me?
What's the most complicated part of your journey to you right now in regards to your son?
For me, like teaching them part, that's where I think I break down a lot in my head with, because it's a lot that it's a lot that we gotta teach them, but it's like asking you, it's like, really, where do you begin, and like, when do you start? And what I mean by that is, like, say he's 2 years old now, like, he's doing things that I'm expecting him to do at 4 or 5 years old. Because as soon as he learned how to walk and he started moving about, like, he sees me clean. I got OCD. Like, I clean up everything. I don't care what nick and cranny it is. It's getting clean. It's getting get touched. And I was cleaning up the house one day, deep cleaning, like real deep cleaning. It was just me and him in the crib. And I had turned my back on him for like just a minute. And he picked up, all I heard was a broom and a dustpan in the background moving. I'm like, the heck's going on in the kitchen? So I stopped vacuuming and I went to the kitchen, and my man in there just sweeping away. And I'm like, wait a minute.
I honestly think you just answered your own question, brother.
Yeah, so it's just leading by example, but not,
that's exactly what I was going to say.
Not really doing too much. Because I feel like if you do too much, then you really is doing too much. And you're not knowing that you crippling them at the same time, because they can only observe so much before they end up splurging all over the place. Because
most people's conversation typically is gossip and rumor. Most people typically. So you leading by example and choosing to use less words is probably the best thing that you can be doing for a 2-year-old.
Makes sense.
Because most of what will come out of your mouth wouldn't be something that, it wouldn't necessarily be negative, but it wouldn't be anything that they need to hear.
Right off the bat, yeah. That's why I navigate what I say nowadays to him. It's like, you know what, you don't need to know this right now, but I'll write it down, and then when I get back to it, or when we get of age, then I can pull it out. Hey, look, read this right quick.
Very important that you mention that. I would like to take a moment to pause and repeat that for any father that is listening. That is one of the coping mechanisms that he has chosen, to sit down and write out the things that he would like to share with his child, but understanding that's where self-control comes in, understanding that this is not the right place or time, and also understanding that there might never be a right place and time. This is more of a you thing than it is a your child thing, because certain things they just don't need to hear right now.
I don't know. It's natural. Like, for some reason, even though I know I didn't have that guidance, I never had that teaching. Like, moms, and I give a lot of credits out to moms too, because even though me and my mom never really had a good relationship, when we got into the States, our dynamic kind of changed a lot, because a lot of the stuff she used to do, she kind of dialed back on, and I started respecting her more. And when I started kind of opening up and allowing her in to some extent, like, I started treating her a certain way and seeing how she goes about raising me and my brothers, and outside of us too, because she raised other people's kids.
You you made me think of something, a conversation that I had, because I often wonder, like, how relevant is it for people to have a relationship with their mother in order to have a successful relationship? And I go back and forth with it, but you said something that jarred my memory, because you said she did something different that caused you to have a different level of respect for her. And what I'm starting to understand from me individually, that it's not necessarily about the relationship that I have with my mother, because most people don't get along with their parents.
Facts.
It's about learning early in life how to have respect for someone whose opinion you might not respect or might differ from.
Yeah,
So it is relevant, the relationship you have with your mother, but only from the perspective of, can I handle you without getting out of pocket?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to learn that the hard way, losing somebody I really care about, to understand that, like, wait a minute, I don't necessarily have to like have good communication, or we don't have to be overly communicative, me and my mother.
Yeah,
but when I do speak to her, I need to exhibit the type of self-control that I would have when my woman pisses me off or my child pisses me off. That's what I gather from that.
Basically. But see, I never learned that from my mother. I learned that from my grandmother, honestly. Because the relationship with me and my grandmother was like something undescribable, because it's like every day, grandma, 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 grandma. And then when grandpa come home, it's grandpa, 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 you feel me? But since grandpa, after he was gone, it was just me and grandma every day, every moment, every
That's who predominantly raised you?
Yeah, and she was of age to where she couldn't take care of me for real.
Yeah.
And I give her the most credit. Like, she was one of my biggest motivations to like do better in life, because she provided a lot for me, and I never really knew at the time. But to this age, I'm appreciative, because if it weren't for her, who knows where I'd have been at, you feel me?
Question, and this might, I don't mean it to sound offensive, but I feel the need to ask it. Like, what gave you that sense of importance? Like, why did you feel like your mother needed to do something to prove something to you, so that you could respect her, outside of the fact that she just, and this is a general question.
Yeah, I got
you. Relationship with my mother either, but what made you feel like she had to do something? If you're consciously aware that like you can only work with the tools that you have, then what made you feel like, or is that you reflecting on?
Nah, so I'm gonna share a story with you, and it's gonna answer why I haven't trusted or respected my mother from a young age until I moved to this country.
Okay.
So as a kid, like I said, I had to grow up fast, because I'm the oldest on both sides. I'm basically number 1 out of 12, even though everybody split off on dad's side got the most, mom got the least. So me growing up so fast and having to not grow up as a kid for real, I seen a lot, and I spoke up a lot, and I got punished for speaking up a lot. And then I got beaten down. I just got abused for a lot of things, because whatever made me felt bad or not, like I didn't like something happening, and I speak up about it, I got punished for it, or I got sent away for it.
By her?
By my mom, you feel me? And it's because a lot of the things I've seen and I've literally lived through with my mother, and I confronted her about it, and I'm just a kid. Kid confronted a parent. In God's words, you need to respect your mom and your mother and your father. But he never said I can't tell my parents the truth.
Oh no, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah,
but
definitely.
My mom wasn't expecting a young 10-year-old or 9-year-old to literally tell her the truth, despite how she may feel.
Well,
and some parents can't take accountability to when shit hit the fan.
I mean, the interesting part about that for me is that, like, I think it's next to impossible to retain that type of information and not get to a point where you feel like I tried to tell someone what was right. They should have been doing.
And but that's what I struggle with.
Yeah, because that's not really our place.
Exactly. And now I struggle with that for a long time as a kid, because it's like I'm in the kid's place, but I'm at the same time trying to be in an adult's place.
Which isn't
supposed to be.
To do. Yeah.
And because I was always told that you the head, not the tail, you gotta act as the head, not the tail. So I was literally running with that all the time. And because I felt that since my mom didn't have her dad really around, or nobody to tell her the truth or tell her about herself when she's doing wrong, I felt that was my obligation as her son.
And you would have felt that, because it's a domino effect. You know, you're speaking on generations of
a lot
of a repeat cycle. But
exactly.
But you have a single mother, or your father wasn't there a lot. So for the sake of conversation, we'll say a single mother who's asking you essentially to man up.
Facts.
But here we go again, is another plan, another goal without a plan, I should say. Like a woman simply telling a man to man up, and then continuing to be a woman You can only give me the feminine energy that you have. You don't have masculine energy too.
And that's what messed me up as a kid too.
Yeah.
And that right by itself messed me up because I battle with the fact that it's like I was so raised up around her with how she moved and how she carried herself.
Yeah.
And then not really having that physical masculine energy that I'm supposed to be learning from my actual dad.
Yeah.
And because that was missing, I had a hard time making friends, flirting with girls, like just knowing who I am and knowing my sexuality all together.
Yeah.
So, and the reason I say that part is because like it took me until my 18th birthday to finally decide if I wanted to talk to girls or not.
Yeah.
And some people will look at it as like, well, that's a good thing. And some people will look at it as that's a bad thing. But I never knew which was good, which was bad. You know what I mean?
It isn't. It's just a thing. It's a personal choice thing. And just got to ignore other people and their, you know.
And that's what I thought it was too. It's like something I had to take my time to learn. But it's like when you growing up around people in an environment where everything is just so sexualized, like I had brothers, cousins, like everybody male wise was just like, why go do that?
And then look what happens as a result of that.
Dog, I got cursed out. I got punched. I got like it was just so much, dude. I just felt like I wasn't really I wasn't living to the standards of all the men in the family. And I'm the oldest, but my little brothers and was making it look so easy. And I'm like, why is it so easy for them, but it's so damn hard for me to do?
It's not easy for anybody.
And that's why
we choose to highlight the parts of other people's lives that we admire.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, we kind of like tune out the other very relevant stuff that's visible, but we just don't see it, you know. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming. I definitely would like to again set up another interview.
Yeah, anytime.
I would like to review this film and ask, you know, some more specific questions about some of the stuff you mentioned.
No problem. Look, you just let me know.
Yeah.
I got time on my hand since I'm making things different for myself now.
Yeah.
But the journey is still going.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see the end of it because before I even got here, I was just at Bible study.
Yeah.
So I like that journey in itself too, getting closer to God and really knowing who He is.
Yeah.
And accepting the fact that I'm a person, I'm a human being, and I make mistakes just like any other person.
Yeah.
Like, I'm starting to free myself from all the hurt, the pain, and the guilt.
You have to. That's good. Congratulations on getting to that point, man.
Appreciate you.
I think that's very necessary at the end of the day. Whatever happens with your relationship, you being whole and being at peace is what your son needs.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm chasing right now.
Amazing job of creating a foundation for him to be a better you. Because
that's kind of where it is.
A lot of people live vicariously through their children, but like, our job essentially is to teach them how to make decisions without us, because it's inevitable that they're gonna have to.
I kind of will.
That's what they're gonna.
I want to share this for you then. So, the reason I feel, and this is one reason why I think my son is the way he is, and it's because, and I feel like I don't know if a lot of dads think this way, but for me, I wanted to make sure that me looking at me at this point, what am I gonna do to prevent them from literally following anything that I did wrong and like still give them the window and the room to make mistakes?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we have to literally leave room. We can't have a high expectation of them to follow everything we say, because that's gonna mess us up, and we're gonna have that beef between each other. That's where you create the separation.
Yeah.
I want my son to respect me before we become a friend,
of course.
Because at the end of the day, one of us got to lead, and it ain't gonna be you. I've been here longer, and that's just my look on life with it. But
the most effective leaders are the ones that make people feel like they did it themselves.
Exactly.
Just keep that in mind. Don't be too overbearing.
I won't. I promise. Yeah. But I just like seeing them happy. That's where it boils down to. And if we can do everything positively and minimize the negative, the toxic traits, or whatever it is that's bad, I want to minimize that to the utmost, where everything positive outweighs the heck out of that part.
I would like to, since you're the first guest that's actually had a copy of the book, I would like to, if possible, have our second meetup after you finish the book.
Okay.
And I would like to know what about the book is relevant for you and what ways it helped you.
Okay, that works for me. Sure, I definitely would like to talk about it, because I got some questions that I would like to ask too. So hopefully, I can't wait. Just let me know.
Because I know a lot of that stuff would have helped me in the beginning, because I didn't have. That's why it was named the Blueprint 4.
Single fatherhood.
Yeah, man, because
Yeah.
that it's
It really
complicated.
is.
It is.
Like I said, like from the beginning of me just starting, just opening a few pages,
Yeah.
like right off the bat, like it gave me a straightaway vision of what I need to
Right,
do
right.
before I make that next step.
Yeah.
Because without it, I don't even know what I've been doing right now. I've probably been chasing my own tail, trying to figure out stuff.
That the book is called A Blueprint for Single Fatherhood, and it is written by all of the members on the board for Single Fatherhood, and we are in the process of making that available as an audiobook, and also for order. What do you call that? Not a hard copy, but the paperback. Man, I'm so detached from libraries.
Hey, you and me both. Look, I'm just getting back in the realm of reading, and I ain't gonna lie, I enjoying it so far because it actually helps.
Yeah, definitely. Audiobooks for me, I read very sparingly.
I've been reading my audiobook for the last 2 years, and I'm not gonna lie, I've been sync hooking, like it's basically hook syncing and sinker at that point. Like I've been hooked in for that for almost 2 years, reading fantasy novels, like true stories, like crime, whatever it is. Especially my personal favorite is like all of the millionaires books that I've been reading. Like even though they're not my stories, like they kind of give you a sense of like how these people really think.
I got some books for you to read. I'm gonna recommend some. I'm saying if you like to read, definitely.
Heck yeah. If I got the time, I definitely jump into it. But like I said, I'm like reading a physical hard copy. It's just me now physically doing it again.
Yeah.
After like running away from it, trying to chase life.
Yeah.
Or whatever was literally distracting me.
Yeah. Well, again, I appreciate your time, brother. To all you dads out there, if you're tuning in, I appreciate you. If not, you should be. Tell all the people you know so they can too. Like, follow, and subscribe. It's very important that we continue to get these stories out here because something about his story resonates with someone else out there, and maybe he could drop some jewels and help you figure out, how to navigate your situation a little more effectively. So please continue to follow, help to grow the community, send fathers our way. We need to talk to. Like, subscribe. Akram Quadeem, Single Fathers Network. Peace.
Yeah, I definitely have one there.